All right, so it's Nick Reese here with Art of Blog, and I'm sitting down today with Chris Pearson, and we're going to discuss Pearson's game plan for 2010.
Right on. For Thesis, web publishing, the whole bit.
So, what are your plans for 2010?
All right, so first of all, this year, obviously, you got to keep developing Thesis. There's a lot of ground I have yet to cover there. I mean, basically, the whole goal is to build a fully functioning web publishing platform. There's a whole lot to that. There's design, there's code, and there's all that. And I'm trying to put all that together in a way that makes sense. And I think the biggest problem we all face right now is the solutions that are out there, Thesis included, like they're just not quite easy enough to use or not quite flexible enough. And I know that there, between what currently exists and where we're going, there's a happy medium there where there's a much better interface and just a much more sensible way of publishing to the web. And that's where I'm headed. That's where my head's at with all this stuff.
Okay, so what can we expect from you specifically in 2010? You got any big goals?
All right, couple of the actual straight up goals are, first of all, I'm going to port the personified design to Thesis and add a few more bits of functionality that I think people are going to like, and then I'm going to eventually release that design to the public, to DIYThemes customers. So that should be fun. Then gonna rock out a new version of Thesis. I don't know if I'm gonna do a 1.7 before 2.0 or not. I kind of need to. I've got a bunch of 2.0 code written. I got to figure out if I can make that whole transition and go straight away into that in a reasonable time frame, or if I need to kind of put a 1.7 patch, if you will, out there in the meantime. One thing I want to mention though is I'm adding a way to download and upload and share your options. And so that will make it much easier to like skin out a site on a development site and then port it over to a live site. And also I want to encourage sharing of core SEO settings and design settings. That's going to help. That's just going to help the whole community kind of work together. And I think that's going to be important. And there's so much functionality and so much flexibility that exists with Thesis. And like I see people doing the same work over and over and over again. And to me, it just makes more sense if we get the proper solutions in place and share those. And I can say, hey, I know this is a good one. Let's use this. That's one of the things that's a problem right now, but I think we're working towards a solution there.
That sounds real good. So, hypothetically, if you were going to release a 1.7, do you think there's like an estimated time? What are you shooting for?
All right. Oh, I've got to go to, I'm traveling to LA and then New York and then Vegas this month, so I'm pretty busy. But in between there, somehow I'm going to try and work in the definite solution, whether or not it's going to be 1.7 or 2.0 in the next 3 weeks, first 3 weeks of January. And then I'd say by January like 25th, I should certainly know I'm either going to drop 1.7 then, or I'm going to say, look, it's going to be, another month or whatever I think it's going to be before I pump out something new, like a 2.0, something along those lines.
Awesome. Well, I know you're a big fan of Twitter, so let's move on to that topic. You're on there all the time, got a bazillion followers. What are your thoughts on Twitter? Do you think it's going to be around in 2010? What's your opinion?
Here's the deal with that. Like Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, whoever, I throw all these sites in the same boat. Okay, these are all, like, if I'm writing on Twitter, like these are my signals, these are my thoughts, these are things I'm putting out there. And right now, I don't have any ownership of those. Like the URL of my specific tweets are on twitter.com, and all the stuff that I put on there really is, in my opinion, it's a long-term waste. I mean, like, yeah, I'm able to connect with customers and that's cool, but I'm looking beyond that. I want any signal that I put out there, be it a blog post, be it a tweet, be it pictures like that I currently put on Flickr. I want all that stuff to be on my site, on my domain, and then I want to choose, what stuff gets published, what stuff is available for use. And I think that the future of Twitter is actually going to be in the privatized sector. And I have some ideas for how that's going to work. But essentially the idea is that my tweets would emanate from my domain, and then just like your tweets would emanate from yours. And then we have like a third-party community engine, not really third-party, it's tied to this whole piece of software that I'm kind of dreaming about here. And, this community engine picks up a signal from my friend's domain, and one from my domain says, hey, I'm talking to this person. And then that way you have the Twitter-like functionality, but then you have the privatized ownership of your tweets, which is key. I mean, I know that, there's all these privacy concerns on the web anyway, and there's a huge chunk of people who are willing to pay for solutions that would be privatized. And I think that's inevitable, the way I see it.
Now, would your system replace Twitter, or would it work with Twitter?
Well, that's the beauty of it. I mean, let's say I have this thing built. you would be able to work with Twitter's existing API, and it would be as if you were posting to Twitter, but really you'd be able to post all this stuff from your site just by working with Twitter's API, which is a great API and it's really easy to work with. So I mean, that part's cool, but you know, it'd be funny because kind of working with Twitter, but at the same time kind of trying to prove that their model is bogus. I mean, yeah, they have a zillion users, and yeah, you have a lot more leverage when you have a zillion users, and you can do all kinds of stuff to make money. But the bottom line is, if you keep getting capital to the tune of 200 million, like, it's much harder to make that money back. It becomes more and more of a speculative thing where you're hoping to get bought out by one of the few players with billions of dollars, and that's a bogus play. Why can't your goal with your business be to make your business awesome and not rely on a buyout down the road? Like, what's so bad about that? I don't know. It's like, that's not the culture, the nerd culture, I guess, in Silicon Valley, is to be approved by somebody with a whole bunch of money and get bought out by them. Like, screw that. I have no interest in that. I'd rather have a badass solution and be fighting everybody else.
Yeah. So in 2010, we're going to see you pushing for owning all your own content. Are you really going to be an advocate for that?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that, for me, this whole thing comes from a standpoint of, like, personal pride. Like, I want all my stuff. It's my stuff. And I see a happy intersection in the future between you owning your stuff and choosing what gets published, choosing the people you connect with, and creating, instead of relying on like search, like a raw search, when you search Google, the same crap comes up, it's a Wikipedia page or some, I don't know, some page that's been, gaming Google for years or something like that. Instead of that, I'd rather have search results and my interactions be kind of more of a word of mouth thing, coming from the community of people that I have said that I trust or that I'm following or something, along those lines. I'd rather have my life's input coming from sources that I choose rather than just these arbitrary sources, which Google is deeming like, this is good or this is the best answer. I want to decide that.
So we're going to see more of your infamous How to Become a Celebrity videos?
We are going to see a lot more of that this year. That's what this is about right here. And that's definitely in the agenda. I realize that my own communication has been a boon for my business, and I know I need to do more of that, and I want to do more of that. And there's just so many ideas that I haven't had a chance to share. I guess because like when you write them down, it takes on a whole new different dimension. And I'm very worried about like the accuracy of my information. Like, you put a post out there, a good post is evergreen. It's always relevant.
Right.
And you always have to modify it and keep it current. And so it's like, am I going to write a post and know that I have to continually modify it? Probably not. But I will do some video.
Yeah, because video you shoot it once and you're good.
Somebody's going to watch it and then they're done.
And you get all the tonal, everything.
Affect is key. Affect is key.
So,
yeah.
Cool. Anything else you want to add?
I'd say that's pretty much it. Kicking off 2010 with a bang.
Cool.
All right.
See you guys on the internet.
Peace.